Hi. As you may or may not know, I've been working on my flipping guide, and it's taking way longer than I thought. And I really, it's probably going to take another week or two. I'm just going to be totally honest. But I have this, which is not just as good, but it's going to be very cool. Probably the coolest thing I've done on this channel yet. Um, I just, while I was flipping and recording myself and analyzing some of the flips for the guide, I decided I was going to do data from 250 flips. So that's what this is. All 250 of these that I have just listed over, I think it took me a total of 4 or 5 hours to get to this mark. Every single one, I've put the data for them in an Excel sheet. I've broken it down by what I paid for it, how much I sold it for, the listing fee, the total profit, the egg group, the gender, and the species name. So I plugged it all into Power BI, and I've got some very interesting analytics. Maybe they're not very interesting, but I think they're interesting, and I want to take a look at them. And I want you to comment below if there's anything I didn't have in here that I definitely should do, and I will save the file and go back to it and answer any question that any of you may have. Okay, so here's the first dashboard I have, and this is how much I spent. I spent 23 million Pokeyen over 250 flips. So that comes out to an average of 94K on average per flip. I sold my total sale price out of all the 250 was 33 million, and I had 938,000 in listing fees. So you take this number, subtract these off, and this is my profit. I made 8,667,321 Pokeyen in about 4 to 5 hours of flipping while documenting all the stats of the flips. So I was not nearly as optimal as normal, but still very good numbers and still pretty cool. Here I have a rate of return of 37%, and that's pretty good. That's pretty ideal. I was looking up in the Petrowski Discord if anyone had ever talked about rate of return or return on investment, and I saw a comment from him. I'll go ahead and pull it up if I can still find it. Here it is. I've got it. So he says. A huge thing. He is talking about shiny flipping here, but I don't really particularly. I think in general, for all flipping, it's pretty good advice in this game. He says you want to look for about a 40% return, and here I am at 0.37, and I buy a bunch of cheap stuff, and I actually made some mistakes in this. So if I didn't make any mistakes, I probably would have been around 40, but 37% is good. Um, so if I think how it works is if I spend 1,000 Pokeyen, I'm making 1,370 for every 1,000 I'm spending. That could be wrong, but that's what I think it means. I don't know. I probably should have looked into that. So average is obviously going to be outweighed by the outliers from the shiny flips. So and then the average profit's 34 because of I had a lot of high profit shiny flips. But the median, so the median is every number lined up from least to greatest. The one in the middle ended up being about 15,000, which I kind of find hard to believe. And my median profit was 15.8. I think I might have ran something wrong with these numbers because I don't know how this could possibly make sense. Maybe it could. I probably want to check this again later. It's kind of weird. But I think the main idea here is 8 million profit in about 4 to 5 hours. Now we get into the specifics. This is by name. So I thought I did 250. I can't count. I stopped at the 250th cell and forgot the title cells, so I should have gone to 251. I didn't think about that. So I've got 249 flips, and here you're going to see basically everything that everybody already knows. So this is how many times I bought out of the 249, how many times I bought each mod. And you think, okay, well, Ditto makes sense, Magikarp makes sense, and this is always going to be your 1 and 2. If anyone does this, it's a flipper, it's probably going to be these two. The rest, Pseudo Wudo, the night that I was flipping, an alpha Pseudo Wudo came out. So, okay, that makes sense. You never actually buy a lot of Pseudo Wudos. So this is you can kind of ignore this. Litwick always seems to be around for some reason. I didn't think Litwick would be this high. So that's my first genuine surprise. Shroomish and Gengar are great. I mean, they're always great. And Meowth. These three are very consistent. You see this a lot. I'm honestly surprised I didn't have more. Something that surprised me was Swablu and Wingull. I had 5 of those each. Maybe they had Alpha Pelipper and Altaria had Alpha Swarms, and I don't think so though. I don't think that's what was going on. Gyarados makes sense. Rapidash is usually the shiny that gets brought out. And then, anything out here you can take with a grain of salt. And a lot of this is just, and there's evolution variants of each other. I don't really think that you can get too much out of this, except for the fact that it's Ditto and Magikarp that you're going to be flipping most of the time. Now here, again, take all this with a grain of salt. This is Profit by name. I flipped a shiny Ponyta and made 1.3 mil. So obviously Ponyta is going to be up top. I flipped a shiny Raticate and I made 715. Okay, so obviously that's going to be up here. Same with Rapidash. So now if you omit the first three and you look at Ditto, I made 505K just from Dittos out of 250 flips. And then Gengar, I only flipped 5 of these things. The Gengar flips are incredibly underrated. I guess it's just super powerful, super desired, super good for the storyline, super good for PvP. And people will list 6 times 20 Gengars for 8K, which can easily sell for 80, 90K. So that's always something to look out for. And then you've got your desired mons that it makes sense. Again, and Sudowoodo's here because there was an alpha. But Magikarps, so here's something about Magikarps. I didn't make nearly as much profit on the Magikarps as I did the Dittos. I bought almost the same amount, but yet I made this much more on Dittos than Magikarps. I think that's very interesting to look at. As you go down, I think this becomes less and less significant. So we'll go on to what I have here. This is Egg Group, and while the shinies, the profit I made, the shinies in the Egg Group, I flipped 3 Egg Group shinies. I mean, this makes sense. I also think Field is just the most prominent Egg Group that you're going to find. So I did not expect it to be this lopsided. I guess, granted, I did flip 3 shinies, which is why this is so juiced. I might run a function later to see if I can just omit the 3 shinies and see where we stand from there. Because my biggest surprise was this Chaos. I didn't expect to make this much from the Chaos Egg Group. 675K, it's pretty crazy. Genderless, so Magnezone I had a lot of. What else did I have? Magnezone, Metagross, I had a couple of those. It makes sense. Ditto makes perfect sense why it's here. And Monster and Dragon are great, but I separated them like this if someone had double. So Dragon would probably be up here and Monster would probably be up here as well, which is what you would expect. And here we go, we have this by gender. So usually the general idea is that males are better for breeding purposes, so they have more value. And that seems to hold up here. I bought more males than females and genderless combined. And here's the profit for each. So about 3 million on the females, about 5 million profit on the males, and about 1 million on the genderless. And we have, a little chart to go with it. I think I might sit here for a while and try to think of something else I could come up with. One thing I wish I maybe did was, I know it would have taken much longer, but really gone into, I don't even know what else I could have broken it down by. I think maybe I was going to maybe try to add more columns to the Excel sheet for when I was flipping, but I don't really know what else there is. I've divided it by egg group, I've divided it by gender, I've divided it by species. I think those are the 3 main things that people make their decisions off of. I could go into IVs, but for every flip on that, it would be too ridiculous. Yeah, I'm probably just going to call it here. If you have anything you want me to do with this, let me know. I'm happy to go back into the file and manipulate it and play with it. I hope this was maybe at least interesting, kind of enlightening to see the numbers of what flipping looks like. Again, yeah, I'll have my flipping guide out soon, and I appreciate you all. Thanks for watching.